Hi everyone, this is Adrian.
And I'm Carrie.
And for this episode of the Scent Library, we are doing fragrances from the Middle East. So, kind of a Middle Eastern fragrance appreciation.
Yeah.
Because got lots of great fragrances.
Right. So we'll be talking about three Middle Eastern houses today. Ajmal, which has actually had about a 60-year history in business of doing perfumery. I don't know about their earlier days. It was probably much more Middle Eastern centered and more kind of in that kind of a locality. But they have about 280 some fragrances currently that are marketed under their name. And many of them are now marketed in like the US and Canada, so they're easy to get through discounters.
Oh, wow.
Then we will move on to Latafa and Armaf. Both of these have come on the market with fragrances in about the last 10 years or so. Most of their market offerings came in around like 2012 to 14 or so and started reaching our markets. Some of them are famous for being clones and some of them are total originals. So we'll talk about a little bit of all of those.
Oh yeah. So we want to get started with this one fragrance from Ajmal called Santal Wood. And I was wondering, Santal Wood, and you just said, oh, it's sandalwood.
Sandalwood.
Yeah.
Santal is just probably, I think it's French for sandalwood.
Oh, yes. And it smells great. It's a really nice blend of sandalwood and all the other notes in this fragrance. It's just really nice sandalwood fragrance.
Right. This one, Santal by Ajmal, is a 2014 release, and it is not put out as a clone. It's an original sandalwood composition. It has notes of marigold, cumin, cardamom, rose, jasmine, cedar, ginger, and then sandalwood, oud, and patchouli. It makes for a nice woody oriental smell. It smells best probably about 30 minutes after you've put it on because it dries down into some of the nice soft dusty rose and cedar, ginger, patchouli and stuff. It starts coming to its own. The top notes, the marigold, cardamom and stuff like that, give it a nice sweet oriental spicy smell at first. But the real heart of this is the base, the sandalwood, the oud, and the patchouli. Yeah. And it's a pretty long-lasting scent. When I've put it on, I've noticed it lingers for hours and there's a scent trail.
Yes, it's so well done, and if you are just particular to one note that you've always liked, I mean, it's just a well done sandalwood fragrance.
Right. And the materials that Ajmal uses are sourced from really good places and stuff over in the region over there. And I don't know how for the price that some of these sell for that they're able to put out such a spectacular fragrance, but on a pretty decent budget, in other words, pretty conservative budget, you can get a lot of good scent from some of these houses. And this is a surprisingly affordable, really niche level smelling sandalwood scent.
Yes. Okay. So next up we have here is also by Ajmal.
Yes, also by Ajmal.
And this one is more citrusy.
Yes.
So
you've worn this one for a bit. What do you think of it?
It's pleasing. It won't offend anyone. That's how I feel it's like. I just noticed smells. If I remember, this has watermelon.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so yeah, I noticed the watermelon. The kind of scent that's just will never offend anyone.
Right. What I like about this one also is it has notes of black currant, and I just love that in so many fragrances. It's a dark, juicy, fruity sort of a smell. And then as it dries down, you get nice notes of jasmine, rose, lavender, cedar, patchouli, vetiver, amber. It's a really, really nice fragrance. And as with a lot of these Middle Eastern fragrances, the true heart of them comes in the middle and the base notes and stuff. And this one, though, it has these delicious fruity notes up on the top and stuff. I think the real joy in this one comes about half an hour to an hour after you've put it on, and it's dried down real nicely and leaves a nice scent trail. And it's definitely kind of a soft, powdery, woody sort of a smell.
I also noticed it because of just the packaging, the bottle.
It's really beautiful bottle.
Well, yes, but at the same time, because it's kind of like if this fell, there's a chance it won't break.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows?
Okay, next up, from the House of Latafa, Ejaazi Intensive Silver. Yes.
Okay, yeah, so starting into Latafa, which has quite a big offering of perfumes. Some of them are not straight up clones, but they're kind of inspired by. They have a general sort of an homage towards certain popular fragrances and stuff. I would tend to say they're not usually straight up clones. There's one or two exceptions. We'll talk about one coming up. This one is a nice one that just came out this last year. It's fruity top notes of like grapefruit, orange, and mandarin. And then it has cedar and aquatic notes or sea notes with base notes of amber and moss. And it has when I noticed, like when I first put it on, you would definitely get that sort of a green citrusy sort of a smell up top, and it was really pleasant. And what you're left with as it dries down is also a really nice sort of aquatic, woody sort of a smell.
Well, yeah, but I think of it like smelling the sea from up above the mountains kind of thing, because cedar, you don't find it really near the ocean. So I was surprised by the combination that cedar and sea notes work well, So.
Yeah, it really is a nice scent. And it does kind of make you think of being sort of like in a cedar forest on cliffs up above the sea or something.
Yes, definitely like that.
Where the ocean smell is rising up in the air along with the sun warmed notes of the cedar wood and needles.
I'm sure that's what the designer is thinking, or we're guessing.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Okay, next one is also from Latafa. It's Fakhar Black. And I almost think this is a blue fragrance for some reason, because it smells just something that you could wear any time, any occasion. So what do you think?
I agree. I had to remember this one for a moment. It's been a while since I have tried it and worn it for the day. I do think that you could categorize this with a blue sense in that it's a generally pleasing, starting off with pleasing fruity types of notes, then heads into things like berries, lavender, geranium, and ends up with the kind of the things you would expect also in a blue scent, like tonka bean, cedar, vetiver, and amber. Yeah, this is a nice one. When you have worn it, how does this last?
Oh, it lasts like what a blue fragrance would last.
4 to 6 hours.
Something like
good
that.
Scent, yeah.
Good scent. Reminds me of other blue fragrances that are really nice, like Y and Bleu de Chanel. But you always hear about Bleu de Chanel and stuff like that. So this one holds its own. It's its
I don't think
own
this one
blue
tries to
fragrance.
be a copy. This one just it's a blue type fragrance.
I definitely find this classier than, say, some other blue fragrances that just completely basic. This isn't a basic blue fragrance.
No, I think it's a pretty nice one. A lot of these, I think that they're not that they don't like set out to be straight up clones or pretty close to clones. What they're doing is probably copying a sort of a general approach or things that people like in one market about a certain type of a fragrance, but then they regionalize it to like Middle Eastern tastes or something, and use some notes that are similar character, but that carry better with a Middle Eastern market.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've become a fan of Middle Eastern fragrances a long time ago with all of these like really wonderful offerings, and this is a good one.
Yes, it
you know,
is.
I definitely would recommend it if you love blue fragrances. You would like this one.
Yep.
So next up is something that's always in demand.
Always in demand and
Come.
difficult to find it in stock.
Also from Latafa, Khamrah.
Right.
Yes.
Now, for those of you fragrance fans out there, if you try to spot the similarity to this, you quickly come up with Killian's Angel Share.
Okay.
So this one, while everybody thinks of it as a straight up clone to the Angel Share, it really shares surprisingly few copied notes.
Oh yeah, and this one has dates, right? Does Killian Share have dates?
Let's see. Killian's Angel Share does not bill itself as having dates in
Yes,
it.
and this one I really love it for the
Yeah.
date fragrance.
Yeah, quite honestly, this one's just amazing all on its own. The fact that it smells similar to Angel Share, I don't think is by coincidence, but it's not a straight up knockoff of it.
No, it's great. It's
The things
it's
that
boozy.
are, yeah.
I mean, does it have booze? It's without having booze. It's
No,
boozy.
it's probably the benzoin in it and the cinnamon and stuff that kind of gives it that boozy smell. The top notes in this are cinnamon, nutmeg, and bergamot. Middle is dates, praline, tuberose, and base notes are vanilla, tonka bean, myrrh, benzoin, amberwood, and akigala wood. Now, the notes in common between Khamrah and Angel Share are cinnamon, praline, vanilla, and tonka beans.
Oh, okay.
That's the only ones that are billed as the common notes. Definitely Angel Share has like a cognac sort of a vibe going on. I think this one smells like it has that too. It definitely smells boozy, but I think it comes in this one maybe from the benzoin, the dates, the pralines and stuff, because it's a sweet sort of a alcoholic sort of a
I'm
smell.
a big fan of dates, like
Yeah.
fragrance that has dates on it.
But
It's
this
great.
one is just first of all, for the price that they sell it at, to get this amazing of a fragrance is just pretty much a bargain that you can't pass up if you like these gourmand fragrances.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful. I would wear this often, but it's in so high demand, so I just treat it as a special fragrance.
Yeah, it's worth, if you can find it. A lot of places limit you to only one because it goes out so fast, and when they get it in, it usually sells out almost immediately. So you got to put yourself like on a waiting list to get an email, and then grab it as soon as you see the email come in. The price is super affordable, almost laughably affordable, and the quality you get is just amazing. It lasts for hours and hours. It leaves a great scent trail. It has a nice projection to it, and there's just nothing about it not to like, unless you don't like sweet, boozy sorts of things.
Okay, and speaking of sweet stuff, is next one also very sweet, but now this one is just straight up wood. Like, it's called Rhagba Wood Intense for men. Don't know why, but it's so woody and sweet. Like, I could gnaw on you, and just the sap from your skin probably would be so sweet and stuff like that. That's really how it smells like, and it does. It's really sweet. It has caramel and sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this is a re-release of an early release by them. They started releasing fragrances that they did on the more mass market around 2014, And this is a relaunch of one that was just Rhagba wood, but this is the intense version. It's probably more or less the same one that they released the first year, but then ingredients became more expensive and they toned it down for a while. And this is kind of a going back to the basics and stuff, but they had to re-release it, I guess, because the regular one sort of had fallen out of favor with people and not as popular. So the Intense gets it a new name. Anyway, the top notes with this one, the sweetness comes from caramel notes. And then it has Qaa'ed wood, licorice, and cedar. So we're doubling up on the gourmand there. And then it has notes of sugar, oud, sandalwood, cashmere wood, and in the base, incense, vanilla, amber, oak moss, and musk.
Yeah.
So a very robust fragrance. It comes through in all three of the different parts of the fragrance, the top notes, middle, and base. And I haven't worn this enough to really form an opinion how long I feel like it lasts. What do you think?
Oh, it's long.
Long.
And it's because of the sweetness. Just think of it. It's really for cold weather. You can choke someone out with how sweet this is.
Okay.
So
I've only worn it around myself, so I haven't choked anybody out except possibly myself.
And next up, also by Lattafa, is, I hope I pronounce it right, Qaa'ed.
Qaa'ed, I guess. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. For you viewers out there in the Middle East, we're trying our best, but these are your perfumes and they're really good. And
Yeah.
let me try from memory. I think this one is strong on the vanilla.
It does have a lot of base wood or base notes of vanilla.
Oh yes. Okay, so this one I believe is a vanilla scent. It's really nice.
Nice, spicy, woody, with some gourmand to it. So yeah, this one is a 2018 release by Lattafa, and it has top notes of cinnamon, cardamom, and bergamot. I don't catch the bergamot so much, but I guess it's something that just sort of cuts through all the other sweet notes. Then it has saffron, sandalwood, cedar, and carnation, and base notes of vanilla, oud, amber, and leather. I really notice some of the spiciness coming through: the cinnamon, the cardamom, the saffron, and then the leather, vanilla, and oud. It's definitely it's well balanced. It seems to last a long time, and very, very nice one when you can pick it up.
And very nice bottle.
Yeah, really nice bottle.
I really like, the bottle. I do really like the circular shape and just how it's easy to grab because of the
I like to be able to hold on to a bottle so I don't drop it. Some bottles are shaped so oddly that it is a little tough to hold them and
this
spray
is
them.
easy to grab too, so
Yeah.
it's really nice. But not just admiring the looks, the fragrance is just as nice. It's just as pretty as the bottle. So, and that is one thing that I am impressed by Middle Eastern fragrances is it's a very exquisite experience from bottle to fragrance.
Yeah, I think that's a cultural thing that carries over from perfumery being a big deal over there. Just like in France, certainly there's different aesthetics and stuff between the Middle East and France where their perfumery industries began and stuff. This looks like something you would see in the palace of a sheikh or something like that. Then, like something like Bleu de Chanel or something with its, clean lines and square bottle and, dark blue glass and stuff like that reminds you of something more modern and, sort of Art Deco French or something. So, but yeah, the aesthetics are really nice in a lot of these Middle Eastern perfumes.
And speaking of aesthetics, this one went all out. I mean,
they
totally,
sure did.
They sure did went all
Not
out.
one tree, but two.
Two trees. Just like it's really well engraved onto the bottle. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, glued on or whatever. It's. I think this one is also really good with its vanilla scent. This one, but what I found out from this one is that the people who have this have rated it really high.
Yeah, this one is well liked. It came out in 2022, actually. I think I got this one fairly early in 2022. And it comes in a really neat packaging within the box, which is pretty big. It comes in a thing where there's a base where the bottle sits into, and then a kind of, it looks like glass, but it's a plastic dome that goes over it. So like you would, it makes it like it's almost like a little shrine for the bottle.
Yeah, I know, right? And the fragrance is also just as great. I mean, all out presentation, and
Yeah.
they love it, and I can see why. It's so spicy, vanilla. Am I sure it's vanilla? I know it's vanilla. It's that kind of like how spicy woody they've made it, because
Yeah.
they call it eternal oud. So
Yeah.
obviously they're emphasizing the woody fragrance.
Right. The emphasis on this, I do think, is probably mostly the base, which is vanilla, amber, benzoin, tonka bean, oud, and labdanum. That's what comes through really strong. What I find, though, that's nice is that initially you do also get a really nice kind of a gourmandish sort of a top and middle notes and stuff from plum, from like
Oh,
what,
yeah.
what feels like a really ripe plum, not like, one that's barely ready to eat, but one that's like so ready to eat that, it's almost going
Oh,
to
yeah.
wine.
Yeah.
And it also has notes of grapefruit, heliotrope, and orchid. So, really lush background to
Yeah.
it.
So very, very nice. So, and I think we're done with the Latafas
We
now.
are moving on to our Moth.
Yes, and I think this is their popular. I think if I were to guess, this is one of their most popular fragrances because it's Club de Nuit. The bottles are super fancy. They all look like this, but they start off saying Club de Nuit, and then what are they?
Right.
And usually they are twists or copies of really fancy fragrances.
Right. So, to the best of my recall, all of the Club de Nuit men fragrance, one, they come in these absolutely lovely bottles.
Yes.
Great aesthetics.
Yes.
Not really. I think they're pretty tacky.
You think so?
It's on purpose.
It's on purpose.
It makes people remember them and stuff. And it all started out with one that we'll talk about in a little bit that sort of established the line. All of the Club de Nuits seem to be clones of very popular Creed fragrances for men.
Okay.
Now, this one, and the names of them, some of them at least, sort of pay some homage to the names of the Creed fragrances. The Creed fragrance that this one pays homage to is Millesime Imperial.
Oh.
And it comes in a mirror gold bottle like this with a mirror, a gold top.
Oh, wow. So it's
Definite
also...
fingerprint magnet. So, you see by the bottle that it's probably a Millesime clone. And then the name on it, if you can see that.
Milestone.
Milestone, Millesime. There's not a lot of things that rhyme with Millesime, so they had to go with something Milestone. And Milestone's kind of a neat name for a cologne. But honestly, this is a really, really good substitute or clone of Millesime Imperial.
I like the bottle. I mean, I know like some people might find them gaudy, but I'm like, hey, it delivers.
It delivers. It's overall it's a good bottle. You can hold on to it and spray it pretty easily and stuff. It's kind of a fingerprint magnet. You just never can get it clean because by the time then you even touch it to put it down, you've got more fingerprints on it. But it is what it is. But the fragrance is really, really nice.
I think it's because of the watermelon, right?
It has neither this one nor Millesime bill the notes specifically watermelon, but they call them red fruits. And I definitely can sort of sense a watermelon-y sort of a vibe to both of them. I think this one has it has so many great characteristics of Millesime Imperial. And for people that have been longtime fans of Creed Millesime, they harken back to the days when it first came out, where it had a much more kind of a marine note to it, and something that really sets it off as a kind of a specific, very different scent from pretty much everything else. And then it got kind of watered down. Now there's differences in batches when they make, different batches each year or however frequently they make them. But also they pay a little bit of attention to like marketing feedback of what people like or disliking or something. So like with Aventus, that gets a lot of hype about different batch years and stuff, but they try to tweak it a little bit to make sure it sort of stays current with what people are liking and getting rid of the things that they dislike. But this one has a lot of similarity to Millesime. It definitely shares sea notes, red fruity notes, bergamot, these sea notes or aquatic notes like sea salt, and musk, and some base notes of wood.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, okay, I like the vowels.
Again.
Here we go again. Club de Nuit, and this one is Sillage. And this one I've noticed to be very citrusy, tend to be a bit on the sour side for me.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So very good for like not too warm weather, not too warm, just warm enough because of how citrusy it is. And so it's good. It's good. Just it's very citrusy. Got this sour profile to it for me. Some people do not react well to sour fragrances. I'm fine with it. I like how
what's one of our favorite sour fragrances?
Like Blue Forever.
Exactly.
So this one is really nice, and it's also
it's an homage, aka pretty much a clone of Silver Mountain Water by Creed.
Creed again.
Which, for people that are fans of Creed, would know Silver Mountain Water comes in a mirror silver bottle, minus the rhinestones and the little choker chain. But this one is definitely seeking to give people an alternative to Silver Mountain Water at a much more affordable price.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
it has similar notes of bergamot, blackcurrant, musk, and sandalwood, but there's other notes that I think stand in for some of the notes that are billed on the Silver Mountain Water. The one thing that people talk about with this one, and I don't know that everybody would necessarily be familiar with this, but this one has the Silver Mountain Water has what's talked about as an inky sort of a note. And I've never been able to figure out for sure if people are talking about like the kind of like the ink that comes from like squids, or the ink that that's just like ink that you would have dipped a quill pen in.
Yeah, that's probably the ink that they're talking about.
So I'm not really sure, but I do notice something that is a sort of a dark note to this that is also in Silver Mountain Water that you immediately notice, and that it's distinctive. I think this is a pretty good clone, aka substitute for Silver Mountain Water. With a lot of Creed fragrances, they are really good, and if you can afford them, go with them. Most people just can't bring themselves to lay out that kind of a price for a fragrance that you're gonna use it up in 6 months or something if you use it every day. You'd rather spend that on having a little bit more variety but still have the same scent profile. And I think
you will have a lot more variety with Armaf than one Creed bottle.
Yeah, you can buy probably about 8 or so bottles of Armagh for what it would cost for one Creed bottle
Yeah,
of 100 mils.
and it's already really good, and the bottle is also really nice looking.
Well, you don't wear the bottle, so
I know, but
so
you
who
get the
cares?
experience that's like, it's so nice, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna spray it on me.
I do think that part of the the joy in perfume is the bottle, the packaging and stuff. So you miss out a little bit on that when you buy something that it's unboxed or it's a tester and it doesn't come with the cap or something. But at the end of the day, it really is the fragrance that you put on and walk out the door with. Nobody sees the cap, nobody sees the box except you. So, if there's a good price difference between, a way you can buy it and save on it by getting a tester or an unboxed one or something like that, do it. If you're getting it to give somebody as a gift and you want the full presentation, then spend the extra dollars for it. And that'll vary. Like Club de Nuit, things don't come as anything except, packaged and stuff, because there's not usually, I don't think they're sold in department stores, and so there's not really testers and stuff. So you get the full experience. And quite honestly, they're packaged like Creeds.
Oh, wow.
The boxes, are similar. Well, usually they're the same kind of shininess and colors outside of these, but they have the really nice packaging and everything. So you definitely get some attention to detail with Armagh, both the fragrances and the packaging.
And last but definitely not the least,
Yep.
Club de Nuit again.
This is what started it all
Intense
off.
Man, and definitely based on a very popular Creed fragrance.
Yep. So let's just put it out there. This is probably one of the most notorious Creed Aventus clones. Was it one of the first ones? It was probably one of the first that really hit it. This one is, while the notes are not billed to be exactly the same, I think it's pretty much undeniable that the smell is almost exactly the same. I've had people that know Creed Aventus, and I spray this, and half an hour after putting it on, they're like, "Oh, you're wearing your Aventus again," and I'm like, "No, actually, I'm not. I'm wearing the clone." The people will talk about this having a kind of an unpleasant lemony opening to it. With Creed Aventus, you have bergamot and pineapple, black currant, and apple as the opening notes, and it really makes for a nice blend. With Club de Nuit, you get bergamot, black currant, lemon, lime, violet leaf, and ginger. People will complain a lot of times about the lemony smell being kind of artificial or synthetic, or smells like lemon pledge. I don't think that it's that bad. I don't think that it's that off-putting. But the thing you got to remember is you're usually putting on a fragrance, and only you get to know the top notes. Everybody else gets to see more like the dry down on the top, the middle, and the base and stuff. Within 5 or 10 minutes, whatever the strong citrusy portion of this is died down, and then basically you would have a really tough time, I think, determining between which one is Club de Nuit and which one is Aventus.
I can't even spot the difference. Like when I wore this, I instantly liked it, and I didn't care that I was wearing a clone. Not one bit caring. I'm happy that I will get to try Aventus, but being able to try the clones already, I mean, like, wow, it's good. I can see why they made like multiple homages to it.
Yeah. Now, this is a giant bottle. This is a 200 ml bottle. You can kind of see the difference between it and a 100 ml bottle of the Armagh. You can get a 200 ml bottle for probably $60.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to last you quite a long time, because you don't have to go super heavy on the sprays.
I mean, Aventus lasts long, and this one lasts long.
4 to 6 sprays of this, and you're probably good to go. And if you want to really blast people out, if you're in a club or something like that, put on 16 sprays of this and hope you don't kill the cab driver or the Uber driver on the way there with it.
Okay, so that would be it for our fragrances. We would like to finish it off with at least saying how much we appreciate Middle Eastern fragrances.
Yeah.
I'm really happy there is an industry there.
I am too. I
I'm
think
sure.
they make a nice set of offerings of things that have some different twists on them and give you much more affordable alternatives to things that otherwise would cost a fortune and most people wouldn't have access to.
Yeah, and what I like actually are the original scents. The one that aren't twists of anything that
Yeah.
they've come up with themselves, and I'm like, why aren't more of these on our shelves? You know, that's why I
Yeah.
think of, because they're really good and they look really nice. I mean, some people, have different tastes, but me, generally speaking, all the bottles that like were presented here to me are attractive.
Yeah.
And
I think
so-
that's the thing is they just don't do the marketing over here. You don't have the presence of seeing them in stores like Bloomingdale's and Sephora and stuff. So they're not as well known unless you see them where people that talk about fragrances put them on and feature them. And, and sometimes the draw of them initially, or to a house like Armaf, which has a lot of fragrances, probably I think 170 some different fragrances.
Wow.
Only a smattering, a small percentage of those are clones. Most of them are originals and super high quality. They just pertain to kind of a different market. So it's a way of getting some attraction from other markets to their house and shows that they're capable of coming up with some amazing creations.
Well, in the future, I'd like to revisit the Middle East again for their fragrances. Well, I would love to visit the Middle East, but for fragrances, I would like to try more Middle Eastern fragrances and the ones that aren't twists of anything, or
Yeah.
even a slight twist of on something. It's really nice, and I just appreciate the Middle East for their fragrances.
Yeah, they definitely have some amazing fragrance houses. Many of them are unknown to us over here in the American market and stuff. But you pay attention to different fragrance reviews and stuff, and you sometimes will see them featured.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Till next time, bye bye.
Bye.